Good morning, all you freaks of nature. I've been out here trying to hunt this Bigfoot. Not much luck yet, but we're hoping to get somewhere later today. You know, we're looking for this dimension of Bigfoots. I've settled on the plural of Bigfoot being Bigfoots and not big feet. I think it's weird when we say big feet. But I actually have a caller that we're going to get to in just a few to talk about Bigfoot because she lives 25 minutes or so away from these sightings. So I'm looking forward to hearing from her. But first, we have an answer to the discombobulator. Can you believe this? We got this disclosure. Let's see if we actually want to believe it. It's called soft kill. The U.S. just deployed a weapon that was supposed to stay classified for another decade. The U.S. just deployed the soft kill electronic warfare in Iran. That's no bullets, no bombs, total destruction. America just revealed a capability most people didn't know existed. Electronic warfare systems mounted on Black Hawks. That's a helicopter for those out there who don't know, although I'm sure you do because you've seen the movie. These soft kill machines can shut down an entire battlefield without firing a single round. So that does sound a lot like what happened with Maduro, right? When we got this alleged tweet from some guard who was there on the ground in Venezuela saying we were bleeding from our faces. They turned off all of our machinery, all of our technology, shut off. I think it was the soft kill. It was a soft launch of the soft kill. And a lot of us had a feeling we would see it again. It would rear its ugly head again. I mean, it's fascinating, but it's scary because this is like everything that's deployed in war. It eventually comes back home for you. You know, it's like a smaller version of this kind of stuff, this remote control, seriously, technically, is the fear that was going around of people saying they could repo your car remotely if you have an electric car. And, you know, if your social credit score is down or you're just not paying your bills, but eventually your social credit score will take effect and they can just press a button and your electric car will drive back from where it came and no longer yours. But you can imagine how this could wipe out entire communities or just target you individually like they do me every day with the satellite. You know, it's through the sky. Soft kill shuts down all enemy communications instantly. It disables drones mid-air. They fall from the sky like dead birds. Directed energy blinds every sensor, radar, and targeting system in range. Let's also keep in mind that we've been discussing this so-called disclosure of Havana syndrome, which was a fringe idea and, you know, mocked by, not taken seriously. Well, maybe not mocked, but not taken seriously by the government when its own people said, hey, we think we've been hit with some sort of frequency that's really affecting me. You'll remember we talked just a week or two ago about the gentleman who I believe is former CIA, who they say is one of the first guys to think he was hit with the Havana syndrome. And he died recently. He died in January. Directed energy blinds every sensor, radar, and targeting system in range. It collapses entire command networks in seconds. There's no gunfire, no explosions, just silence. This is how it works. Allegedly, electromagnetic pulse disrupts every electronic signal within range. Frequency jamming cuts off the radio, satellite, and GPS simultaneously. Directed energy overloads the sensors. The radar screens go black. Iran's drones can't navigate. Their missiles can't lock. Their troops can't communicate. It's a very effective piece of technology. I just wonder how that's going to be used against all of us eventually, if it hasn't already. And also wondering what kind of experimenting they might have done before launching this at home, you know, because they typically do that, you know, like the same way I talk about UFOs mostly being something designed by Lockheed Martin or something like Raytheon, whatever, maybe Anduril, and they take them for test drives, you know, up in the sky, and people are like, wow, it's a UFO. But it's like, no, it's actually just one of Peter Thiel's machines, you know, or Sam Altman up there, because they're just testing it out in the sky. And they're not only testing it in the sky to see how it flies, how it maneuvers, what it can do, what kind of damage it can bring. But they also are studying you, the ones who see it, which is why I think a lot of these like Men in Black type situations where you hear about, you know, the Men in Black showing up to the aftermath of some of these events. You know, you might think of Mothman or other UFO encounters or abduction stories. I think some of them, if not all, they're there to gauge the response of the people as part of their study. And it's also compartmentalized that the Men in Black might not even know what they're researching. They're just there to ask questions. They're investigating. You know, who knows anything? So what they're saying here is that Iran's $5 billion radar, which is given to them by China, allegedly, went totally dark because of this. They're not calling it the discombobulator. I am, but I believe this is the discombobulator. Iran's the drone swarms fell out of the sky. Iran's entire command structure went deaf. Every piece of electronics on the battlefield was dead. Again, let me stress, this just might be propaganda. There is a video attached to it. Maybe we'll listen into some of that before we get to our first caller. But it is extremely insane, but not surprising. This is the inevitable evolution of technological warfare. And so you can imagine it's not an if, it's when this comes home and it's used, like, I think they're using it now. And I think it's secret. When I say using it now, I mean about here on us, on the population. But at some point, I'd imagine this is the kind of thing that will be probably a mainstream tool that's used perhaps to quell riots, or they're going to start saying, we know that there's sleeper cells here and there. Maybe there are, maybe it's not. You know, Trump just said there's sleeper cells and we know where they are. I think that's what he said, I think, at the end. But, you know, they always make up stories to go after someone else. Also the dissenting voices that they could use as their a way to use as an example, right? Like the way Joe Biden used half the country saying they're domestic terrorists, basically. These J6ers and these sympathizers for J6ers. You see how they always redefine these things. They always move the goalposts. So with this in mind, you can see how they can start targeting the general population. Once they've used it out there, it always comes home and is used in full force and is shared amongst all the authorities. That's always the case. You know, there's things that they've agreed to not do at war that they certainly do on people, like human experimentation. And then they're like, okay, no, we won't do it at war. No. But we'll do it on our own people. You know, we'll do it at home. We'll give our children the radioactive oatmeal. Okay. So let's see if we can hear some of this.
One of the most dangerous electronic warfare comes from the disc-shaped objects attached to this Black Hawk helicopter. While the Pentagon hasn't officially disclosed the specific hardware, military experts often call this a soft kill system. So how does it actually work? To understand the weapon, you first have to look at what it did. The most likely candidate for a weapon that creates that kind of internal pressure without external sound is a high-power microwave device. It relies on something called the Frey effect. The weapon, probably carried by a Chinook or a Black Hawk helicopter, fires a focused beam of pulsed microwave energy, not sound waves, that passes right through the skull. These beams are absorbed by the water in the brain tissue and the fluid in the inner ear. This energy causes a minuscule rapid heating of the tissue, less than 1 degree Celsius. But that tiny sudden expansion generates a pressure wave inside the skull. The consequence? The target hears a sound, clicks, buzzing, or a roar that originates inside their own head, bypassing the eardrums entirely. If the frequency is tuned to the resonance of the inner ear, it violently disrupts the body's balance, causing immediate vertigo. At higher power levels, that rapid tissue expansion can rupture capillaries, leading to the reported nosebleeds and internal trauma. There is another possibility, a weaponized infrasonic pulse emitter. Instead of a continuous beam, this device would fire high-intensity slugs of low-frequency air pressure, below 20 hertz. These waves travel through the body and match the resonant frequency of internal organs like the stomach or lungs. High-intensity infrasound can actually cause cavitation, the formation of bubbles in bodily fluids. When those bubbles collapse, they create tiny shock waves that damage tissue. The target feels an intense vibration in their gut, leading to severe nausea and effectively paralyzing them with pain and sickness. Tactically, the reports suggest U.S. forces use this technology as the ultimate force multiplier. The result was that the hundreds of Venezuelan guards mentioned in the reports weren't fought in a traditional gun battle. They were incapacitated, sick, dizzy, and bleeding, long before U.S. troops made contact. This allowed a small team of approximately 20 operators to walk virtually unopposed through a much larger force.
Imagine when they marry that technology to Project Bluebeam, and they try to trick the people into believing that they're seeing an alien invasion or a false second coming. Like I've said before, I think they've probably evolved the idea of Project Bluebeam, and it's not going to be this hologram that appears. I think it'll be... It's hard to say. I don't want to make a prediction. But what I've been saying is that they've probably realized there's a lot of people who are not going to fall for that. And they have to slowly Project Bluebeam us over time with propaganda, and maybe by also dosing us with all sorts of bad things. They've been pumping fluoride into your brains for decades now. I think that's part of it. A little bit of shrinking the pineal gland just to prepare you for Bluebeam. But just imagine if they do try to pull something like that off, some sort of grand illusion, and we know they peddle in illusions. We've gone through the CIA's handbook, a literal CIA manual that they had written it was written by magicians at the behest of the CIA during the early years of MK Ultra. John Mulholland helped write that because the CIA is like, we need to not only drug the population with these crazy chemicals we've been creating with the help of Eli Lilly, under direction of Sidney Gottlieb, of course, and Kurt Blome, who was the Nazi from Germany that we hired after Operation Paperclip. They're like, we also need to learn how to really create illusions for these people so we can be inside their head on a total war on the perception of these people. And John Mulholland was close friends with Houdini. So now let's fast forward to today and how they can create these illusions with the help of this type of technology. A lot of people are already skeptical of ideas like Bluebeam, how it's going to work because of AI. And now that everyone is second guessing everything they see, it undercuts the way Bluebeam could have been used by something like AI. But now with this stuff, with the discombobulator in full effect, allegedly, we don't know how it's going to go down. And if they do use something like that on a grand scale, it's going to be crazy. So that is the soft kill. That is allegedly what's been used. Perhaps tomorrow we wake up and we find out this was all just propaganda. And, imagine the White House comes out, oh, no, it's not us. We didn't do that. But then we believe them. By the way, I'm filming this the night before. I'm filming this yesterday because I had to go out today and do some family stuff. So we're not doing phone calls in the morning like I am trying to do now at 11 o'clock Eastern time, which is what's going to be mostly the schedule going forward for the pre-records. And I've been posting those links on my social media accounts, and we've been posting them on the Inverted World social media accounts and in the bios, the descriptions of the videos on Rumble and YouTube. So it's always the same Zoom link every time. So this is the night before, so who knows what happens between now and tomorrow when this airs. Maybe there's a bigger discombobulator, or maybe they say they're trying to tell us there is absolutely no discombobulator. But let's see if we can get this caller in here. I'd like to learn, because, this Bigfoot story. Yesterday we talked about Bigfoot. For me, it was earlier today. And lots of Bigfoot sightings. Bigfoot has been seen like 8 times, I think, in Ohio from March 6th to March 9th. So pretty remarkable that people are seeing. And it's like, it was a 10-foot tall monster. It's pretty wild. So I heard from someone who happens to be in the area. And I'm like, you are perfect. Let's hear from you. And we're going to try to get them in right now. Let's see how this goes. Hope you all are doing well out there. Allie, can you hear me?
Hey, yes, I can hear you.
Welcome to Inverted World. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh my gosh, this is so fun. Thanks for having me.
This is awesome. So you're in the area of these Bigfoot sightings, I hear.
I'm sorry. Is my service good?
Yeah, you're good.
You
Can
were
you?
just breaking up.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, now, okay, we're good.
Okay, cool. What is going on with Bigfoot in Ohio?
So I'm going to find him. No, I'm kidding. No, I don't know. So it's like since March 6th to just like yesterday, there was sightings. It's so wild. I mean, people here are having fun with it, but like, I don't know. It's kind of like, they're talking about it, and like you can't go into the store without somebody talking about it. So people are excited. The last like big sighting was like 1979. Like, so it's been a while.
Is it in that same general vicinity?
So kind of. It was like Columbiana County was the one in 1979. This one, and especially for it to be so many. And what's weird about it, Shane, is they're all saying like, I don't know, they're all saying like the same weird little, he's walking in a weird fashion, and I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah.
But it's like active sightings.
Yeah, I saw the one guy from, I think it was like Bigfoot Society, who's been tracking this. He kept saying he was sloped forward. Like I kept seeing this phrase repeat itself, almost to make us picture the very cliche image of Bigfoot, sloped forward, leaning forward.
Right.
Are you a believer in Bigfoot?
So, yeah, I mean,
Nice.
I don't know. Right now, I'm in my basement. I'm staring at like 12 Bigfoots right now. So I found him. He's in my basement.
You have 12
Everyone go
Bigfoots
home.
in your basement. I'm calling the authorities right now. They're going to raid your house. She's got him. So you believe he's real?
No, yeah, I believe it's something. I mean, people are seeing something, and I've always just been interested in it. Like, my dad always talked about it, so it was just, like, always kind of, like, a talk about it growing up, and, it just kind of stuck. Like, it never went away. I even, like, binge-watched, like, Expedition Bigfoot on Discovery, like,
Nice.
those shows. I think I've watched every single episode maybe 3 times, so...
Do you think... okay.
I might be a little obsessed.
I like it. That's perfect. So it's perfect that it's happening in your backyard.
Right. I'm so excited. 25 minutes. I went to Lake Milton today because that was after I talked to you, I was like, let me head over there, see what's going on. So I popped into like a couple gas stations and stuff. They're talking about it, but nobody's really like saying like exactly where. These are like private resident houses. So you can't get to like where these sightings are actually happening, other than like that one was on, did you hear about the mother and daughter?
No, I don't think so.
So this was by Tinker's Creek. This is like coming from Streetsboro to Hudson, Ohio. They were driving on Route 303, so they'd be like heading west. And it was walking on the road. They said like they came in within 3 feet of it, like around a bend. And she said if my daughter would have stuck her hand out the window, she could have touched it.
Really?
Like, yeah. And so that Tinker Creek, it's like a swampy wooded area. So, I mean, but like even Lake Milton, it's thriving in Bigfoot. Like a Bigfoot could totally be hiding in there. Like, I can even send you some pictures. Like,
that'd be cool.
Through our chat, like it's of what Lake Milton looks like. I took a couple, like just from on the way there, but like totally could be hiding in there.
That'd be awesome. What do you think Bigfoot is? Do you have any theories? So many people have different ideas about what it actually is.
So I lean towards the interdimensional stuff, but then I believe in like full blood and flesh too. So I don't know. Maybe there's both. I don't know. I can't say one way or another, but I think like the orbs and stuff, like those sightings have been ramping up around here too. Like these orange orbs in the sky in Ohio. Mm-hmm. Like, so a bunch of weird stuff's been going on.
Actually, you're right. Actually, Ohio's been in the news quite a bit lately.
Yeah, we've had some abductions and stuff. Yeah, like
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what's going on.
How far
But,
is? Sorry to cut you off real quick, because don't forget what you're going to say. I just want to ask this before I forget
Okay.
it. How far
Okay.
is Milton from Wright-Patterson?
Oh yeah. You mean
That Air Force base.
Oh, good question. I don't know offhand.
That's okay.
Probably, I'm gonna say, well, because there's like, you ever hear of Peebles, Ohio? It's in Adams County.
Okay, I don't know
But
it.
they do like, it's like an Area 52 kind of thing.
Yep.
For it's like like Ohio's Area 51. Like GE did like propulsion testing there, and I don't know, reverse engineering or whatever in the 70s and 80s. So that was, I mean, all of this is right kind of in the same vicinity, within like 1 or 2 hours of each other. I would say no further than that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, before I cut you off, you're going to say something.
No,
We were talking about like your theories on Bigfoot and it being interdimensional.
Oh, right. So I don't know. I mean, like, so it's just weird how, these people that go out and they're seeing something. So whatever they're seeing, and then just like how fast he can disappear, and with that following like the mimicking of the sounds, even like Ohio Howls. You remember that?
No. What's that?
You have to Google Ohio Howls. It's
Okay.
just like a Bigfoot howl that was happening around like that 1979. So
Okay.
it was like the sound of it. It's almost like the Sierra Nevada sounds. Have you ever heard of that too?
Yeah, the sounds are kind of eerie.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So the Ohio Howl is kind of wild too. So,
Okay.
I mean, they're seeing something,
Yeah, I was talking about how this guy David Paulides, I think that's how I say his name. He's done. I think he did the missing 411 stuff. He's done a lot of different. He was a cop. He became an investigator into like the paranormal, and he went and did a bunch of interviews with people. I think it was in Oklahoma. Sorry if he's going to hear this and I'm all wrong, but he's somewhere out there interviewing a ton of people who don't know each other about their experiences allegedly with Bigfoot, and they all had very similar descriptions of what they saw. And these people, as far as he knew, did not know each other. So people are seeing something out there. I think there's something
Right,
going on.
that's what
there.
I mean. And that's what I'm like, whether or not it's like flesh and blood, like an actual species, but it's like, so like even the DNA comes up human. So it's like, is it human? Is it like, because people, even hunters, so whenever they say like, I saw a Bigfoot in my scope, I couldn't pull my trigger because I didn't want to shoot like a man because it looked like a man, right? So it's
right.
like, they have human features apparently, so it's just so interesting to me. Like, so I get wrapped up in, like, I just want to find answers. That's just how my brain works. So
Yep.
I've been obsessed since. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Ohio has what are they saying recently? Has a high percentage for abductions right now. And
yeah, I'm ready. They could take me at any time.
What do you think they are? Are you an aliens person? Is it interdimensional? What is going on?
I don't know about that either. I mean, I have my opinions. I think, again, it's something, whether or not it's like interdimensional or is it outer space, because I lean forward to, I'm completely red pilled, I've been there. Like, is space even real? I don't know. So
I don't know. I don't think so. I think they've been lying to us about everything.
Well, right.
Of course.
That's why I feel like it's just kind of spiritual also. Like, it's like, I don't know. So I had a weird, even my daughter, she was with me when this happened. We were actually outside. It was my old house. We were standing outside and we got an alert for the Elon's spaceships that were taken off, that we were going to be able to see it. Like, I had an alert on my phone. So we ran outside and we're out there. And I had my phone at the spaceships, and I looked away from there, and like it would be completely east, so across the sky. Like, I just happened to look because my daughter was standing like right next to me, and I looked behind her. I was like, oh my gosh, turn around. And there was like 3 like orbs that kind of like faded in and like faded out real quick. Like, they stayed for like maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds. So so we looked at each other and we're like, what? I still don't even know what that was.
Wow.
So
the orbs have been
like,
a lot
but
lately,
they're orange. They're bright orange.
We've had a lot of phone calls over the past year from people from Ohio who've seen things like that. That's why I always think of Wright-Patterson. And I don't know if you're aware, I'm pretty sure the guy who's missing is General McCasland guy. You've been following that story?
Yes.
You know,
I did hear about that.
he worked at Wright-Patterson. Like he oversaw one of these big facilities in the Air Force at Wright-Patterson. And this is according to like Tom DeLonge. So, you know, who knows if it's true, because Tom DeLonge emailed John Podesta about this general years ago. And we know this because the WikiLeaks that showed us these emails. And so Tom DeLonge from Blink-182 emailed John Podesta, the, I think, pedophile cannibal, about how this guy McCasland ran the facility at Wright-Patterson that years prior got all the debris from Roswell, which is why there's a lot of talk now about this guy who's missing and his whatever, you know, knowledge of UFOs. It's crazy.
Wow. And it's just like this, who knows? Like it really could all connect. Like who?
Yeah.
It blows my mind, you know? It actually looks, I was just looking it up. It looks like Wright-Patterson is in Greene County. So that's about 4 hours from me. So that would be about 3 hours from like where this Bigfoot stuff is happening.
Okay. Interesting.
But I mean, it's not that far off. You know, there's a bunch of wooded areas. My gosh, we have like Mill Creek Park here where it goes on forever. Like, so there's so many wooded places around here. Right.
And if you're using portals to travel like a Bigfoot would, it'd be pretty easy to get anywhere quickly.
So I wonder if he's just lost. He's like, where am I? You know?
Get me out of this place.
Here. Like, crap, I went through the wrong portal. I did it again.
Do you worry that something like this, like, so it's pretty, like, it went viral the past 2 days, this whole Bigfoot story, and it seems like people are seeing something. Do you worry that maybe there's some sort of sensationalism happening and people are just trying to like create some sort of tourism buzz?
I do, yeah. Yeah, and then like you get your ones that are out there probably trying to dress up as Bigfoot and being like, you know, like who knows, right? Yeah. So I did think about that. But I mean, I feel like the daughter and the lady sighting, and like the other ones are like 70 years old. So I don't know. So like the 70-year-old lady, she's like, I know what I saw, but I don't know what I saw. Right. But I know what I saw, but I don't know, you know. Right. So, and she said she was just looking outside of her window and like her daughter was there and she's like, she does this every day. She stares out the window and she just saw it like run out of the woods and like run back in, like just real quick. And it was like a reddish brown, which I thought was interesting too, because that is usually what they say he looks like sometimes, you know, like the reddish tinge to it. Yep.
I'm more willing to believe an old lady, honestly, than the last big Bigfoot story I went over. What was that? I guess that was last summer. Was this guy Snake? What did they call him? Snake the Bigfoot Hunter, and he was just this kind of like ridiculous character who claimed to have found a Bigfoot corpse, and he put it on display at the Orange County State Fair, or maybe it was the New York State Fair, up in New York, obviously. And it was a complete, it was so fraudulent. And this guy has a prior history of just doing crazy hoaxes. But I'm like...
Right, yeah, and like they have like those foot molds, like people will go out there and like put them there, you know. So, and that's what it's hard because like these people's houses, you can't actually go and see. Like, I don't know if they went to go check for footprints or, you know...
Some people do.
Something there if they walked through there, you know?
Yep. Well, maybe there's some this renewed attention to Bigfoot, and maybe if they find him in Ohio, we'll get some answers. I mean, this is 2026.
Like, he's so welcome here. People are actually really excited, you know? Like, they're not... There's a lot, like, you see, like, Bigfoot bumper stickers all around, you know? It's just, like, that kind of town, you know? So, especially, like, the Lake Milton area. So, I feel like, you know...
Yeah, maybe he felt comfortable there. He's like, these people accept me. They understand me. Yeah. This is where I will come out and reveal myself, the great Bigfoot. Right. That'd be awesome.
I feel comfortable enough to expose my identity. So wouldn't that be crazy? I just wish, so I know, like, so I don't know if there's, like, people out there actively looking. It was funny, I work at a hospital. I was taking care of a patient, and her husband was there, and he had a Bigfoot shirt on. And I was like, hey, I love your shirt, you know. And he's like, oh, thanks, you know, I do a podcast. And I'm like, oh, nice, you know, what's it called? And we're, like, talking back and forth. And he's like, you know, I have a Bigfoot group, too. We'll go out and looking for him. We saw some footprints around here. So I'm actually trying to get a hold of him, side note, but... Yes. He said, because maybe we could, I'm sure he's going to be going because they go out, and he said he saw like footprints before close by, even around here years ago. So I feel like he would be all over this. So I'm trying to get a hold of him right now, actually, too.
Oh,
so
sick.
we'll see what he has to say.
Yeah, if you talk to him, tell him I'd be interested to hear from him too if he's on the trail.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah,
No,
that'd be
definitely.
great.
Yeah, because he said he has like a group of people he goes. He says we don't get too crazy, you know, every once in a while. But yeah, so it will be pretty interesting if I could link up with him, see what he has to say about this all.
Incredible. Well, this has been amazing. I appreciate that. Is there anything you want to add?
No, that's it. We're going to find him here in Ohio, I guess.
That's right. We're going to find him in Ohio. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for reaching out.
Yeah, no problem. I'll send you those pictures through our message or whatever for those Lake Milton things. And I'm going to send you this guy's contact information anyways. So maybe, you know, we could link up with him also.
Awesome. You are awesome.
All right, thanks, Shane. This has been great.
Yeah, it was
I'm
awesome.
such a fan of yours. Been listening for years. It's a pleasure.
I appreciate it.
So I love this. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Amazing. That is incredible. Well, guys, I think we're going to find Bigfoot this year. It just seems like that's inevitable. The way this year is going, it is 2020. It's only March. It's only March. We have so much ground to cover this year. It's going to be amazing. You guys excited? What are you looking forward to the most? Let's see what stories I have here, and we'll try to get some other callers if anyone shows up. I'm recording at a crazy hour. I mean, it's not that crazy. For me, it is, because this has been bedtime ever since I've recalibrated my schedule. Typically in bed by now, so I can wake up super early with the kiddos. And I got my brain back. Was not getting a lot of sleep that year at that schedule. I loved it. And I loved the opportunity to grow that way with you guys and have everyone call in live. And at some point, I'd like to get live again. But the schedule with the kids, it was tough. And, we both work at home, and, my wife and I. So getting home late and then getting up super early, it was getting brutal. But it was a great year. And I know people miss the live at that hour. So for now, I'm going to do it like this. And I'm very grateful that you guys are supportive of it. And but at some point, being live would be great because there's nothing like it. And at some point, we'll get there. So let's see here. I thought this was interesting. If we're going to stick with a little more of the technology going to kill everyone theme of the night, outside of Bigfoot, of course. I saw this from Z Media Official. That's ZEEE Media Official. It's a good follow, and she was always posting interesting stuff, and I saw this earlier, so I'll read her tweet first. MIT scientists in November published that they can achieve brain implants, that's chips she has in parentheses, without the need for surgery. Guess how, she asks us all. Through injections and self-assembling nanotechnology. You don't have to sign up for the Neuralink. You're just going to get it whenever they decide. Self-assembling nanotechnology. It sounds a lot like the self-assembling data centers that they're talking about sending up into outer space. Obviously on a much smaller scale. And she says, I'm not one to whine, but me and many have been urging the people for such a long time to realize that this is possible and has been possible longer than they're suddenly admitting, which is a lot like what we were saying earlier. What was that? A few episodes ago, we were talking about biocomputers. Remember, they call it wetware, which is essentially, it is literally brains that have grown in a lab and put into microchips. And they're talking about how at some point they're going to put these things on the market, these computers with brains inside of it. Because there's nothing like a human brain. And everyone's going to want, imagine Black Friday, everyone lining up, human stampede to get their hands on that new computer with a human brain inside of it. That is our future, But she says, what's to say they already haven't done this covertly? And I agree. Like I was saying with the discombobulator, they do these things covertly, constantly. That's how they experiment. So they can eventually launch it officially. And they're like, oh, yeah, we just did it in a lab. I swear, we only tested on mice, okay? We never did it on humans. Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, let's just look at this article real quick, shall we? New therapeutic brain implants could defy the need for surgery. What if clinicians could place tiny electronic chips in the brain that electrically stimulate a precise target through a simple injection in the arm? It also sounds like what they might have done to some of those shots they forced everyone to get. Remember, people were talking about that, and they were called conspiracy theorists for even mentioning it. But we know about nanotechnology for years. I mean, come on, you think they're going to let this go, this ability to secretly dose you with nanotechnology? Oh, look at that. Scared the living daylights out of me. I think that voice injected nanotechnology into my brain. And just keep a close eye on me. Make sure I'm still me. This is how they're going to start, psychic, to bring it back to MK Ultra, the psychic driving experiments. Imagine what nanotechnology can do. That's what so much of this is. That's why I'm always thinking about MK Ultra, because it's the nexus for so much of the control that they seek to have, right? Because they have to subvert you and your perception of yourself and your surroundings. And by subverting your ability to discern reality, they can begin to control you. If they know what you fear, they can control you. They create, so then they study you. They know what you fear. They create those fears, and then they corral you. That's what so much of COVID was. This giant worldwide experiment, another fear ritual to see how the people respond. And it's not just that, of course. It's also, like we've been discussing a lot since the Epstein files came out, which it's crazy. So many people are still talking about it, right? Like 24/7. Wild. Also, a lot of those files have been getting deleted. Interesting. But they talk about extracting wealth from collapsing societies. You know what I mean? So if they can just inject some nanotechnology inside you and start driving you psychically without forcing you to take acid, which is not always the case anyway, because they can dose you covertly with that as well. We know about Frank Olson. And, who knows who else has been dosed secretly with LSD or whatever new drug they're working on. But it's always something. They're always finding some new way to experiment on you. Even though they might have found other ways that work for them, they always got to do something else. That's why, I think about Jolly West, the guy he was another MK Ultra scientist, psychologist, and is kind of in the periphery of so many tragedies. And, when he went in and talked to Jack Ruby, the story goes that he went in, talked to him he did an evaluation, and then he was never the same again, Jack Ruby. And so that always made me think that, like, Jolly West was some sort of, like, scarecrow, like Batman villain, who went in there and poof, put some magic potion into him and erased his mind. I forget the gentleman's name, the young man who was allegedly one of Jolly's patients for, I think it was like really bad migraines. I want to say this was in Texas. I always forget this guy's name and where it took place. But it's first time I heard about it was in Tom O'Neill's book, Chaos. I can't recommend that book enough. If you're looking for some warm weather reading, highly recommend that book if you haven't already, but I assume many of you already have. This gentleman, I believe it was on an Air Force base. He was found guilty of murdering a young girl, a very young girl. Horrible story. And the gentleman had no recollection of this. So either, this is just my opinion, either he was brainwashed into doing it and they were able to erase those memories, which is what they were trying to do. Like, that is the very beginnings of MK Ultra, is to do that very thing, right? Or someone else did it, and they made him like the patsy, like Lee Harvey, which is also a possibility. There's, RFK Jr. doesn't believe Sirhan assassinated his own father. I don't think Tyler Robinson killed Charlie. I think he's probably a patsy. Thomas Matthew Crooks, that story's weird, and I think a lot of that is stuff, and just according, to my own opinion, based on my own research, I think these people are produced and they are made brainwashed into doing these things. And how does that happen? I don't know. It could be a multitude of things: drugs, some corners of the internet that they are visiting quite often, that are, on the other side of the screen, perhaps are feds, or something like the, what is it, the 764 cult, which also might have feds in it. We know there was at least 1 or 2 military people in that crazy satanic cult. We know there's other Satanists that have been in the military. These bad things, they inject themselves into all institutions. That's why, I was saying to yesterday's caller, that was a great conversation with both callers. And thank you again to everyone who's been calling in. We're trying to pinpoint a name or people to who's running this. It's easy for me to want to be like, it's this or that. But I think it's so widespread that it's hard to identify, and it's a lot like how we discuss something like the Manhattan Project or UFOs, depending on how you believe in those things. But they must be, whatever it is, so compartmentalized, whether it's people observing these things or it's people making these things. It's so compartmentalized that no one really knows what's going on. And that is kind of like what it is when we were talking about, we were talking about like the Illuminati. We were talking about Israel. We were talking about the Sabbateans. So much of the world we know today has been infiltrated. And think about it in terms of all these countercultures throughout American history that have popped up. Some of them I like to think are organic, but who knows what's even organic anymore, right? So we talk about Laurel Canyon and how many odd connections there are from those musicians to people in the CIA. And so did the counterculture start organically and then was hijacked by the CIA so they could subvert that population of people? Or was it started by the CIA in a lab? I mean, I don't know. It's very hard to know, but we know that they do these things. We've seen documents of them discussing how to destroy countries, like Operation Mongoose. We've seen them discuss, inserting themselves into things like modern art, architecture, rap, and then you could say things like even TPUSA, right? Like we've discussed this a while back, to tie these things together with the Satanists, the military, the CIA, the hijacking of countercultures. TPUSA obviously had a major impact on the way a lot of the younger kids viewed politics. And Charlie did a great job with that. And obviously also had influence over politics, like the politicians themselves, so much so that he was really helping with the transition team with Trump 2.0. And, he had their ear. And we can't forget that he was very vocal about being anti-intervention and anti-regime change, especially in Iran. I don't know if you guys saw that viral tweet that went viral again from him from last April about Iran specifically. And it's a great tweet. It's a really great tweet. But anyway, for those who missed this conversation from a month or two ago, Michael Aquino, open Satanist, was part of the Church of Satan, broke away from Anton LaVey, started the Temple of Set, and was in the military and was, in full uniform. Everyone knew, oh, he's a Satanist, totally cool. And for them, I guess, not for me. And he was accused of molesting children at the Presidio daycare, like a military daycare. Horrifying accusations. He was found not guilty. I mean, if you read reports from people who were investigating it, they think he was guilty. But he went through the process and he was found not guilty, but definitely a Satanist. And also, to tie this all together into MK Ultra and PSYOPs, he wrote a book on PSYOPs. And his co-author, I'm forgetting his name now. You know how I am with names and pronunciations. But his co-author of the book PSYOPs was on, or is, I'm not sure if he still is. I think they took his name down after this kind of went viral when we initially talked about it, because there's a bunch of people talking about it. His co-author of that book was on the board of TPUSA as an advisory board. It's like, what is this person doing? So I'm just saying that to be like, was that how they start to hijack these countercultures and steer, and try to gain the bullhorn of a major movement and navigate it towards the narrative that they want to be dominant? Because that's what all of this is about. It's all about control, mind control, reality control, nation control, regime change, war, and then making sure you're enslaved. It's crazy times. I got there from nanotechnology, but you can see the straight path from A to B, right? From MK Ultra to nanotechnology to complete control, and how excited these people would be. These people are in these labs constantly experimenting on animals and definitely humans, just like MK Ultra, and all these other Operation Sea Spray, and all the biowarfare chemicals they spilled into subways in New York to see what would just happen, or Tuskegee syphilis experiment. So, with the threat of nanotechnology and how covertly they can inject this stuff into you, think about how that can be used on the everyday man, for assassinations, to steer someone to do your bidding. It's wild stuff. What if clinicians, back to the article, could place tiny electronic chips in the brain that electrically stimulate a precise target? MIT researchers have taken a major step toward making this scenario a reality. They developed microscopic wireless bioelectronics that could travel through the body's circulatory system and automatically self-implant in a target region of the brain where they would provide focused treatment. That's so sick for us. So happy for them. Shut this down. If they're getting money from the government and our tax dollars are paying this, this is what Doge should have been looking into. But Doge, the people behind Doge, they're building the nanotechnology. In a study on mice, it's just mice. I swear it's just mice. When I interviewed Brett Weinstein about what we can gain from studying mice, he didn't take the studies on mice seriously just because how obviously different they are from us. But also a good point he made was how different lab mice are from other mice. And there's so much inbreeding. And I think telomeres is what he used, which is some sort of part of the gene, I believe, in the mice, and it's very different, according to him, from other mice that are not made from lab incest. Mouse, lab incest, the new album coming from cattle decapitation. But anyway, in a study on mice, the researchers show that after injection, these minuscule implants can identify and travel to a specific brain region without the need for human guidance. Oh boy, baby. Once there, they can be wirelessly powered to provide electrical stimulation to the precise area. I love how nonchalant this is written. This is not good. Such stimulation, known as neuromodulation, so this is them rebranding it. It's something nice. It's sterile. It's not... Okay, so stimulation is also a form of rebranding from what was... so think about it, the evolution of this phrasing here. It's really control. It's really mind control, which is... It's just stimulation. We're just hitting them with we're just stimulating the brain to do things. And then we're moving away from that, because even stimulation is a bit negative sounding. It's actually neuromodulation, okay? If I had glasses, it has shown promise as a way to treat brain tumors and diseases like Alzheimer's and multiple sclerosis. So longtime listeners will know where I'm probably going with this. It always starts with good intentions, just like Neuralink. How could you deny someone who's a paraplegic or who can't hear or who has seizures the ability to kind of fix those things? And I say kind of because it's not a real cure, right? And, we've had amazing callers who've called in who are in wheelchairs, quadriplegics, paraplegics, who've talked about they reject the Neuralink and things like that, and that there are other technologies that they believe are safer. But it's just how progress, when it comes to technology and progress, they always try to sell it to the people by saying it's going to help the sick and the poor, the dying. And it's like, why would we be against that? I want to help these people. I want to help everybody. I want people to feel good. But it doesn't stop here. This is just the beginning. It's never just like, oh, we did Alzheimer's, we're done. The CIA had a cure for cancer. The CIA had a cure for cancer for a long time. And it seems like no one did anything about it. I mean, they hid it. I mean, how could they? Their friends in Big Pharma need money to give you more cancer and to just keep you with the cancer so you're dying slowly, but we don't want you to die yet because we want your taxes, because you're a slave and we're vampires and we are slowly sucking the life out of you and extracting all of your money because we need it more than you, and we're going to live longer. And that's just the way it goes in this crazy world. Moreover, because the electronic devices are integrated with living biological cells before being injected, they are not attacked by the body's immune system and can cross the blood-brain barrier while leaving it intact. Wonderful. It's great news. This is great news. Wow. This maintains the barrier's crucial protection of the brain. The researchers demonstrated the use of this technology, which they call circulatronics. And that is a song name, I think, from the Mars Volta. If it's not, it will be. And it targets brain inflammation, a major factor in the progression of many neurological diseases. They show that the implants can provide localized neuromodulation deep inside the brain, achieving high precision to within several microns around the target area. In addition, the biocompatible implants do not damage surrounding neurons. While brain implants usually require hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical costs and risky surgical procedures, circulatronics technology holds the potential to make therapeutic brain implants accessible to all by eliminating the need for surgery, says Deblina Sarkar, the AT&T Career Development Associate Professor in the MIT Media Lab and MIT Center for Neurobiological Engineering. That just gave me anxiety. The AT&T Career Development Associate Professor in the MIT Media Lab and MIT Center for Neurobiological Engineering, which is head of the Nano-Cybernetic Biotrek Lab and senior author of the study of the work. She is joined on the paper by, I'm sorry, I'm not reading all that, because I just see all this and tune out. As someone who is a survivor of academia, I mean, sort of, not fully, clearly, it did something to my head. The credentials, the credentialism, it just is nauseating. They love to have like a long paragraph of just everything that they are, which just boils down to an expert that pretends they know a lot about nothing. They pretend to know a lot about a little bit, but they really I don't want to say they know nothing, because that's mean. They know things, but they typically are creating things that they say are going to help you. We're here to help, as the government always says, and they just end up making stuff that is going to destroy you. The future is going to be bright, guys. It is. I mean, I'm not black-pilled. I don't care for the black pill conversation. I am not sad about the world. I mean, I'm sad about suffering. I'm sad for people who suffer. I hate to see the innocent suffer. That makes me sick. But as we have been saying, it seems to have been a theme the past few episodes, and I like it. The world is beautiful. People are beautiful. Despite how fallen and insane it can all be, and violent and depraved, there's so much to be thankful for. Whether you have faith or not, there's so much to be thankful for. And I hope you remind yourselves of that, because we cover a lot of crazy things. Bigfoot's fun. But here we are talking about discombobulators and nanotechnology and blue beam and sea spray and Northwoods, and it's bleak. It's bleak. But that's human nature, you know? I've somehow broken my computer. One day I'll get a working computer. One day. Did you hear that? That was my fridge talking. My fridge doesn't have Wi-Fi, but it talks. I don't know how to make it stop. Maybe I'll say something else soon. I'm just going to keep going down this rabbit hole here. I have no one on the in the weight room yet because I did this last minute, late night recording to make sure we had something up for tonight, because I wasn't going to be home for the most of the day today while you're watching this. But I will be back with more callers next week. And again, for those who are just now getting here, thank you for joining us. And I have been out hunting for Bigfoot all day. No luck, but I've got other things, and I will be filling the Museum of Natural History with all of my stuff while also raiding the Smithsonian for the giant skeletons, which we know they have. It's in the basement. It's in the basement of the basement, and I'll get there. But this is something I've been meaning to tell you guys about for a few days. This is insane. I'm going to read this from the High Wire on Twitter. I might have mentioned this in passing, but I want to really talk about how dystopian this is. I mean, I'm never getting these. Maybe you guys have them. I'd be curious to think. Let me just check on my candles here. Are you seeing this one up here? If you rewind, you might see it start to the wax begin to drip. It's really. I'm going to clean up this floor a little bit tomorrow. You can watch the other episode where I was in this room last. It was a Monday or last week, and you can see the candle do the same thing. It's like watching stalagmite hold on tight, right? Or stalactite. I always forget which one. Stalactite, I think, is the one that falls down. It's like watching those things grow, but in real time. You bought a pair of glasses, okay? You wore them around your house, maybe in the bathroom, maybe changing clothes, and strangers in Nairobi were watching. An investigation by Swedish outlet Svenska Dagbladet has revealed that Meta's AI smart glasses are sending video and audio recordings, including footage of naked bodies, bathroom activities, and unblurred bank card numbers, to human data annotators at a Meta subcontractor in Kenya. Workers there, bound by NDAs, described what they see every day. We see everything, from living rooms to naked bodies. Another said, you understand that it is someone's private life you are looking at, but at the same time, you are just expected to carry out the work. You are not supposed to question it. If you start asking questions, you are gone. Meta says users control their own settings. The terms of service say human review may occur depending on your settings, with no opt-out option for mandatory AI training data. 7 million pairs were sold in 2025 alone. That's a lot of people to review in Kenya. Meta is reportedly pushing to double production to 20 million by end of year. They're also working on adding facial recognition directly into the glasses. 2 Harvard students already demonstrated they could identify a stranger on the street and find their home addresses using the glasses and existing software. A class action lawsuit has been filed in the Northern District of California. It says consumers purchased these glasses in reliance on Meta's privacy assurances and could not reasonably have known their bedrooms, bathrooms, and bodies would be viewed by strangers worldwide. This is the surveillance economy. Your data is worth more than the $799 you paid for these glasses. If you want to read that full story, you can go... Where is it? Of course, he doesn't have... This is a... How is this a real name? Stephen Middendorp. It's a great last name. Journalist with the High Wire Talk. This is This story is terrifying because it reminds me of the other story, I believe, with Meta or someone, there was some fact checkers or something or reviewers in Africa hired by Meta or Google, and they were reviewing like horrible things. I think it was Facebook, and they had to review like violent videos and child porn and stuff, like horrible things. And people were reporting being so sick, but as part of their job is like confirming whether these things should be on the platform or not, whether it was Facebook or Instagram, whichever one. Just absolutely terrible stuff. But shout out to Stephen Middendorp and that article. If you want to read that whole crazy investigation, I want to give you his Twitter handle, Smiddendorp22. That's SMIDDENDORP 22 on Twitter. So check that out. Totally insane. Zuckerberg needs to go to prison. I mean, I just think the fact that this guy got to sit down at dinner with Trump after all the things he did to the American people and Trump, and he still gets a seat at the table. Nah, I'm good. Oh, this is another one. This is a quick one from Autism Capital on Twitter. Meta acquired Moltbook, a Facebook which is literally for artificial intelligence. They now don't even need humans to sell ads to anymore. They can just have their AIs buy ads from other AIs to serve them to AIs that serve them to their humans. God help us all. Just pull the plug on Earth already. Oh, man. That's wonderful stuff. It's the human centipede of AI, which is what AI is right now anyway. The stuff that they're putting out here that we know about, at least, that they're not worried about hiding from everyone, is just the human centipede. It has devoured everything it's ever seen online, and it's just spitting it back out in its own form. Did you see the authors? A bunch of authors who put out they published books with no pages in protest of AI. I don't know how effective that'll be. I get it. Kind of a cool image. I guess Michael Knowles did that first, right? Was it Michael Knowles who did that book about, it was like 100 reasons to vote Democrat? And I think the whole book was empty. I believe that was Knowles. Funny. That was years ago. But I don't like it. All right. So I guess we're going to have one caller today. And thank you so much to Allie. I know this is a weird one, this last minute, late night one for me. But I wanted to do, let's see, one more here. One more. Let's listen to this quick bit. Well, since we're talking about all this technology, it's great stuff going on. And Havana syndrome's really become just mainstream now. We're hearing every day now new reports about what we've been studying. We've had something for a year. And now 60 Minutes did a whole report on it. And it also looks like someone at 60 Minutes who might have done some of this reporting for the segment has a book coming out about Havana syndrome. Interesting. I'd like to read it. But it's interesting how it all kind of comes together like that, isn't it? Like, you work on a book for a long time, and it just so happens to be coming out now when we're all talking about Havana syndrome. Articles began being pumped into the algorithm just like a month or two ago, and we saw a lot of that. So let's listen in on this and see what 60 Minutes has to say about Havana syndrome.
The worst pain I have ever felt. It felt like a vice gripping my brainstem was there.
He's one of many U.S. government officials who tell us they were hit out of nowhere by an overpowering force that inflicts lifelong disabilities.
I immediately felt fullness in my head and just a piercing headache.
The decade-long mystery may be solved. 60 Minutes has details of a classified intelligence mission that discovered a new kind of weapon built by a foreign adversary.
I mean, if we acknowledge that this was a state actor that was doing this, it is essentially a declaration of war against the United States.
The worst pain I have
I think we've all been making it. I mean, clearly, we've all been making it. And we're just going to start blaming the Russians, you know. Oh, it wasn't us, it was the Russians. They were doing it. And we just bought it from them. You know, we would never have made anything like this. We don't want to hurt anybody. No, not at all. But that is wild. All right. Are we still here? Imagine if I just wasn't recording and this is just happening for funsies. Which it is just for funsies. But it's hilarious to me if like I have started recording and it just didn't record. I need to apologize. The other day, a nice lady by the name of Jade called into the show. I believe she was our second caller back since having callers come back. And we had a lovely conversation. Very, very nice. She talked about metaphysics and how that's helped shape her perception of life, you know, and talking about what we put out into the world and how it can come back in terms of when you're negative, you breed negativity and it surrounds you. It consumes you. And I believe the same goes for positivity. If you're positive, and that can affect the people around you. And we should try our best to do that. And we talked about what we, you know, our diets, food, but also media, what we look at, how that all this affects us anyway. And we were talking about the end of the world and all this good stuff. It was a great conversation. And at the end, I asked Jade if she had anything she wanted to shout out. She said she had no social media. And I said, well, how did you find the link to call in? And then she disappeared. She vanished. She Nancy Guthrie'd me. And I said, well, maybe that was a prank. Because you go consider, you know, we've had some people call in. You never really know what's going on. But I gave her the benefit of the doubt on the show. And I said, maybe we lost connection or something. I want to let you guys know an update from Jade. She sent me a wonderful email. I believe Jade is real. Now, we'll say 90%. Jade, I'm still going to reserve 10% because this is the internet, you know, and who knows? You might be trying to send nanotechnology my way. Who we didn't know. But no, she sent me a really nice email and said she was having issues with her mic, which was happening at the beginning of her trying to get onto the show. And she really doesn't have social media, which I appreciate. More of us should take that into account. Speaking of what we surround ourselves with, and so many people, including myself, obviously, are consumed by it. But shout out to Jade. Thank you for the email. Thank you so much for letting me know that you just lost connection and it was mic stuff, and I really appreciate that. And I've had so many kind messages over the past few weeks from so many of you, just about the show and about ideas and sending me stories. Please continue to do that. You know where to find me at Shane Cashman on all the horrible places that we visit every day. And next week, we will get back to this. I am typically doing the pre-records at around 11. Sometimes I start a little earlier, but I open up the call room on Zoom around 11. That's Eastern time. And some people might have to wait, and I can't promise to get to everyone who is in the room. So if I don't get to you, my apologies in advance. We will come back to you. Hopefully you come back to us, and I will get back to you. And if the room somehow disappears, if it gets shut down around while you're waiting, try to refresh it. I've had a few issues with Zoom where it kills the room, and I just have to restart it, and then people come right back in. So keep that in mind. But next week, Monday through Thursday, around 11 a.m. Eastern time, I'll have the room open. People can call in. We want to talk about everything. Ghost stories, abductions, cryptids, Bigfoot. I'm going to put Bigfoot in its own category now because Bigfoot seems to be, we're getting Bigfoot disclosure, clearly. Imagine if we get Mothman disclosure. We should start saying let's just start put in the comments what disclosure we want, you know? Like I was saying on yesterday's episode with all these missing people, you know, they took Nancy Guthrie, they took General McCaslin. They're probably going to give us back in return Amelia Earhart and Jimmy Hoffa. I saw, and okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. And I said, if a third person goes missing, you'll know they're about to give us Bigfoot. And then I saw someone actually share a story of a missing person. obviously, unfortunately, people go missing all the time, but this missing person appears to have worked with McCaslin, but they've been missing for a while now. This is before they went missing, before McCaslin went missing, and they worked on some pretty interesting technologies. And so there's weird theories popping up. You might remember me sort of trying to connect these what seem to be disparate dots, but if you're looking at this from bird's eye view, in the way we're talking about the two scientists who were murdered, one on either coast, one at the end of last year and one just a few weeks ago. Astrophysicists worked on very experimental technology, theoretics, and we had that tweet we read after the second murder. And I'm sorry, I'm forgetting who initially wrote this tweet, but they were saying, this is their theory, that they might have been taken care of. Maybe this is something more nefarious than just the official story, and that perhaps as UFO disclosure nears, these people needed to be dealt with because they would recognize something within the disclosure that would have been like something they studied. And that's possible. And they said if we see a third person with that happening, that could be a pattern there. And McCaslin wasn't like that, obviously, but he disappeared. And it's been more than a week now. I think it's a week on Friday. So what's that about? And he was also in charge of major experiments in technology that were used in war. And you can go, I highly recommend, if you're interested in him and wanting to know more about what he worked on, go look up, search General McCaslin speech. I think it was from 2013. He walks you through. I mean, that's a long time ago, basically, in terms of how fast technology develops, progresses, and the things he was talking about are insane. So I think it's a pattern, why are they taking, obviously Nancy Guthrie doesn't fall into this. Why are they taking them? I don't know. Who knows what's going on? It's insane that these people have been missing this long, and there's really nothing in the surveillance state that we live inside. They're requesting, just like, not to make light of these people missing, but you see the parallels happening with these stories, right? Bigfoot and McCaslin and Guthrie, is that the authorities requesting, not authorities for Bigfoot, okay? The Bigfoot Society requesting in this case for Bigfoot, but these people requesting that everyone in a certain vicinity check their Ring cameras or any cameras they have in their houses to try to find these people or Bigfoot. But in the age of the surveillance state and satellites, I mean, we know Lockheed Martin has satellites up there right now that do the global heat mapping. They can basically rewind Earth like a VHS tape and look at one specific place and see everything. So it's very interesting to me that with all that at their disposal, cameras everywhere. They're on us with our phones. Everything's tracking you, whether you like it or not. All your apps, every movement, really. So it makes it odd that it's hard to find. And then even when the cameras are turned off, they can still access the footage. You might remember, Nancy Guthrie's Ring camera was off. It was turned off, allegedly. But they were able to go in on the back end and retrieve footage. How does that work? They're never off. That's why. They appear to be off, but they're never off. So in this surveillance state where cameras are never really off, how do you ever really disappear? Unless someone connected to something much deeper wanted you to disappear. I don't know. We'll leave it with that. Maybe we'll have some updates on these missing people on Monday. But I hope you guys have a wonderful, safe, and blessed weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really, I'm so grateful for the people who've called in this week. I'm hoping to get more and more callers as this new schedule starts popping off, and we got this link going out there. So keep an eye out for that. Remember, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Monday through Thursday is when I'm pre-recording typically, and I'll be posting about it so you know when. Just click the link. It's going to be audio only on your end, and we'll have you on. We can hear about everything. Like I was saying, UFOs, cryptids, Epstein files. What are your thoughts on that? Discombobulator. What's going on there? Missing time stories, all that good stuff. We want to hear about it. And thank you so much for everyone who's called in already. It's been incredible and inspiring, and I missed it. So thank you all. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.